Hey guys, how you doing? It's your boy Mubsy TV, yeah. Anyway, the season is finally over. There's no more Premier League games, there's no FA Cup games because we're not in it. There's no more games for Man United, so it's the summer. So vacation for the players, even though they don't deserve it. And you know what? Big changes needed to be done. And so this video is going to be about what I think is the big problem about Man United at the moment. I made a video when I started my YouTube video looking at the problems with Man United. I talked about the board, I talked about the players, and I talked about Mourinho. We've solved one of the problems, we got rid of Mourinho, but unfortunately, there's still two problems left. Mourinho, I wouldn't even say is the big problem. His tactics were not brilliant, that's all I'd say. But like he said, the biggest thing he's ever done was take our club to second place. You know, we all laughed at him, but looking at how the players ended the season, you could understand him. You could kind of say he was right. He was right this season because you know he got sacked. All the players played well under Ole. We went 10 games winning and all that. That was better record than Pep Guardiola when he came to the Premier League. But then after that, once we appointed him as permanent manager, that's when it all went terrible. We only won 2 games, and in them 2 games, we didn't even deserve to win. Watford and West Ham, they were still dominating us. We managed to win them, but we shouldn't have won. And then we drew to Huddersfield Town, who were bottom of the league, and then lose to Cardiff. And that was terrible. I was going to do a video last week about the Cardiff one, but you know what? Firstly, I wasn't watching the match because it was about City and Liverpool. And secondly, I didn't have the heart to do it. I recorded the video and I just didn't really have the heart to do it because it was just terrible like how we lose it to Cardiff, man. It was too hard for me to even make a video, man. But yeah, I've had a week off and stuff. Forget about football and all that. Bit of therapy and stuff. But yeah, I'm glad that it's over. The season's over. Transfer window's finally open, and now this is the time where we need to do a lot of stuff. But talking about the problems first, the players. The players, that's one of the big problems that we've got. There were a lot of players at this club that are mediocre, that shouldn't be in this club. They will never walk into City and Liverpool, who are doing amazing this season. Maybe Pogba. Well, let me tell you something about Pogba. There's so many mixed opinions about him. Some people say he's brilliant. Some people say he's overrated. But let me tell you something. Pogba is a great player. He is a great player, but his attitude is the huge problem. Because I know he scored a lot of goals. He's the most top goal scorer for us. But let me tell you one thing. His attitude is a problem. He could have scored more goals, but he didn't. He could have assisted more. But when it comes to assisting, it's a bit different because I know Rashford and Lukaku up front and they missed so many chances. And speaking of chances, I've seen a stat where Man United had 65 big chances and they missed 61 out of them. The second biggest gap miss out of all of them, City being the first, but you know City, they've done about 100 and then only missed about 70, but at least they're scoring and winning games. Whereas Man United, we make a big chances, we can't even win games. That's terrible, that. Very terrible. Which is why the players need to sort themselves out. So who's debate saying that the players could be tired because they're actually working harder? But you know what? I can't really see that. Firstly, we were mediocre when Mourinho was there. And then we played really well for a little bit. And then afterwards, they've stopped playing well. After a few injuries against Liverpool, these players like Lingard and Martial and Rashford have stopped playing brilliantly. After that PSG game, it was just a change of players, man. They weren't playing brilliantly, they're playing worse. And that's our problem with Man United. The players need to actually play for the club. If they don't play for the club, then there's no point in them being at the club. They need to prove that they're good at the club. Unfortunately, we were losing games. We were drawing games. And I'm not saying these like normal City Chelsea and all that. I'm talking about Huddersfield Cardiff. These are the games you should be winning. We won We won Cardiff 5-1 away in December when we signed Ole. And then we lose 2-0 at Old Trafford on the final day of the season. I don't care if it doesn't mean much the final game of the season. You still got to play in the Man United way. It's about playing for pride. You got to play for pride. It's not about money. And speaking of money, that is another big thing. Marcus Rashford wants more money because he thinks he's really good, but he's not done enough. We used to compare him to Mbappe from PSG. Alright, we went ahead of Champions League, they didn't. But you know what? Still, Mbappe is miles ahead of Rashford. Unfortunately, he is. And Mbappe doesn't ask for money. But Rashford, he does. The players need to stop playing for money. They need to play for pride. The best way to do it is to dock 25% of Man United's wages. Don't give him anything, but then tell him if you win the league, then we'll give you that as a bonus. That way, the players are earning their money. But they're not earning their money at the moment. They're playing for their money. They don't care. They play crappy football. Then they get millions of pounds. They get hundreds of thousands of pounds of money as the wages. And then they go on Instagram and start taking selfies and stuff. Nah, mate, this is football. It's not money. If you really want money, get a job. Not playing for Man United like that. That's ridiculous. You only train about 2 hours a day. And you expect to get hundreds of thousands of pounds. And yeah, so the players do have a problem. They've got to fix themselves up. They've got to improve themselves. Some of them have to go. Young, Smalling, Jones, they need to go. Why are they still at our club? Why have they even got contract extension? And speaking of contract extension, I'll talk about the board in a minute. But yeah, the players, there are a lot of mediocre players that are in our club and they should not be at our club. And now the transfer window is open, a lot of these players need to go. That's all I gotta say. And now, talking about the board. The board are terrible. They do not care about the club. They only care about profits. They only care about the profits, man. All they care about is that money. Who cares about the app selling a lot of revenue, man? Having a lot of revenue. It's all about football. Man United are a football club, not a business. Fix yourselves up. Ed Woodward, you need to sort yourself out as well, man. Because he's getting players, but he's not getting the right players. And so, like, he got us Schweinsteigers and stuff like that, but they're old. We want players that want to play for the club, that actually got experience and are young and will actually play, that we can actually challenge for the league. We don't want older players who come to our club and like put it on their CV like it's a Duke of Edinburgh Road. No, we've got to actually get good players. There are a lot of players. We could get Koulibaly, we can get Dybala, we can get all these players, man, but we won't. I know there's been rumours about getting James from Swansea and Longstaff from Newcastle, and a lot of fans are angry about that. But let me tell you one thing. There's one thing about the United fans that kind of pissed me off recently, and that is they're not satisfied with anything. You can go buy these expensive players and they won't be happy because we're spending too much money on them. But then we'll buy these little young players and they'll complain about it because they're not the big players or because they don't have experience. Mate, Man United are not there anymore. Man United are not at that quality anymore. We've got to start at these younger players, and then when they come strong and big, then we go for the big players. Them big players are not going to come to Man United who are playing Europa League next season. We've got to think differently. We've got to think change. Change is happening at the moment, but you know what? If Ed Woodward doesn't do much, he needs to go. And people saying that Ole shouldn't have been hired, it should have been Poch. Let me tell you one thing. Pochettino would have been in the same situation if he come. No matter who it is, the players are not good enough. The board don't care. They won't come to our club. None of them will. They won't even do well at our club. We've had two good quality players, managers, Louis van Gaal and Mourinho. Very good. Louis van Gaal took Netherlands third place to the World Cup. Mourinho has been successful at Porto, Chelsea and Real Madrid. And he could have been successful at United, but because of the board and because of the players, we were not. And we're going to be in the same position again and again and again and again and again and again until we change something in our club. That's all I've got to say. That's the big problem, is the board and the players. Managers are not a problem because the managers come, they have their own tactics. If it doesn't work for them because of the players or the managers, then yeah, that's their problem. And we've had 4 managers since Fergie's retired. You know what? If it's 4 managers and we've got a problem, it's not the managers that are a problem. It's something else, and that needs to be solved. Anyway, it's the end of the video now. I've rambled about too much. But anyway, like this video, subscribe to my channel, and peace out, yeah?